The Mirror Realm Where I Never Came to Be. Chapter 1, Reflections Beyond the Glass. I awaken to a hush so deep that my own breath sounds like thunder in an empty cathedral. Before me stands a tall, antique mirror framed in pale silver filigree, its surface veiled by a faint fog, as though it resists revealing what lies beyond. My fingertips hover above the glass, trembling with a curious thrill. I know, without quite knowing how, that this mirror does not reflect the world I left behind, it opens onto the world I never entered. I press my palm against the cool glass. A ripple of light dances under my skin, and I feel the gentle tug of shadows drawing me forward. Slowly, the mist parts, and I glimpse a corridor bathed in soft, rose-gold luminescence. Walls of polished glass arch overhead, each pane capturing a sliver of sky that drifts like a daydream beyond. The air smells of fading roses and morning dew, and as I step through, the mirror's surface shimmers shut behind me. On the other side, I find myself standing on a terrace of alabaster stone. The sky is crowned with two pale moons, their glow tender as a lullaby. Between them, constellations pulse in slow choreography, as if breathing in sync with the land. I reach out to touch the nearest moon, but my fingers pass through it like silk mist, and it hums, a resonant echo of something half-remembered. Below the terrace, a vast garden unfolds. Trees of opalescent leaves sway in a wind I cannot hear. Their branches are strung with lanterns that flicker without flame, casting patterns of dancing light on the marble paths. I move along one of these paths, my footsteps silent, and notice that each lantern bears a small inscription, a single word in a language I almost understand. Begin, one reads. Belong, another. I follow the sequence, my heart expanding at each gentle invitation. Here, no rushing currents break the stillness. Time seems to unspool at its own pace, neither hurried nor stalled. My pulse slows, and I find that with each breath I sink deeper into calm. I reach a pool whose water is smoother than glass itself, reflecting the twin moons and the silver-laced treetops. Leaning forward, I see not my face but a reflection of what might have been, a child with eyes full of wonder, stepping into this world for the first time. A soft voice drifts from behind me, though there is no one in sight. Welcome, wanderer of forgotten dawns. The tone is neither male nor female, but perfectly unobtrusive, like a breeze finding its way through an open window. You have come at the turning of shadows when memories are most willing to share their secrets. I turn, searching for the speaker, but find only the silent arches of the glass corridor, glowing softly. I whisper, "Who are you?" My voice feels small beneath the vaulted sky, but the world does not feel empty. "We are the keepers of the mirror," the voice replies, and I sense it all around me in the gentle pulse of light. "We exist in the spaces between your heartbeats, in the echoes of dreams unspoken. Here, you will meet everything you did not live, and learn what it means to belong to a place shaped by possibility." I walk to the edge of the pool. My reflection shifts, the child's face gives way to a memory of laughter, an echo of a song I never sang. Ripples cross the water, carrying with them voices like distant bells. As the ripples fade, I feel a warmth at the back of my eyes, nostalgia for a life I never lived, yet somehow recognize. Beyond the pool, an ivory archway stands, etched with symbols that glow like fireflies. I pass through, and the garden opens into a great hall lined with mirrors of every shape and size. Each reflects a different moment, a sunrise I never saw, a conversation I never had, the soft hush of reading beside a window I never opened. My chest swells with a bittersweet ache as I move among them, pausing before one mirror that shows me standing in a sunlit meadow, stretching my arms wide as if to embrace the sky itself. I feel a gentle tap on my shoulder. Turning, I see no one, yet the world around me shifts. The hall grows quieter, the reflections dim. I realize I have been here some time, though seconds and hours feel the same. A sense of readiness fills me, an invitation to step deeper into the mirror's embrace. Trust the echoes, the voice whispers. They will guide you to the worlds within worlds. I take a steadying breath and reach out once more, this time not hesitating. My fingertips graze the surface of the nearest mirror, and I feel it yield beneath my touch, like a door opening to a corridor of light. As I pass through, the hall and its silent watchers fade, and I step into a new chamber where colors flow like melted glass and the air hums with dreaming. The pace has slowed further now, each movement is a conscious unfolding, each breath a soft hymn. I feel my thoughts quiet, my body relax. The next chapter awaits, and I walk forward with gentle curiosity, ready to embrace the reflections that lie ahead in a world where I was never born, yet have come to inhabit every hidden corner of my soul. Chapter 2: The Rooms That Remember. The air in the new chamber tastes of warm honey and quiet ink, as if stories had soaked into the very atmosphere and were now breathing back out in soft sighs. The walls are no longer mirrors but shelves, endless shelves that stretch into the horizon, filled not with books, but with tiny glass orbs. Each orb floats just slightly above its resting place, pulsing gently like a heartbeat, or like something asleep and dreaming. I step closer to one. Within its sphere is a scene, a quiet street beneath plum-colored twilight, a bicycle leaning against a fence, a scarf left fluttering on a gate. A life I never lived, but it could have been mine. I recognize the shape of my hands, the curve of my back as I pedal away. But the name they call out is not mine, not exactly. It is close, a syllable away, like hearing your name spoken underwater. I don't touch the orb. I don't need to. Its memory washes over me in waves, tender, slow, without edges. There is no longing in it. Only peace. The voice returns, or maybe it has never left. It curls around my thoughts like a shawl. These are the moments made of might-have-beens. Each one is a whole life folded into a breath. How many of them are there? I ask. Enough to fill all the silences between your heartbeats. I walk deeper into the chamber. The orbs begin to arrange themselves, not randomly, but in patterns. Spirals. Spirals within spirals. I realize that each path I follow changes what I see next, not because the world rearranges itself, but because it responds to the direction of my wonder. Some orbs glow a soft gold. Others a watery blue. One radiates a deep, mossy green, and I stop in front of it. Inside, I see myself, or someone like me, kneeling beside a brook, humming to the stones. With each note, the stones rise and rearrange themselves, forming strange, beautiful symbols. Language made not of words, but of presence. I cannot read it, but I understand it. Every line means, I am here. I see you. You are part of me. I move on. The next room is different. Instead of shelves, there are doorways, hundreds, maybe thousands of them. Each one is shaped like something familiar. A window I once looked through as a child. The outline of my old bedroom door. A treehouse entrance I only imagined but never built. These are not doors to new places, the voice explains. They are doors to the places that waited for you. The ones that were ready, even though you never arrived. I feel no sadness at this. The waiting places do not mourn. They hold themselves in quiet readiness, offering shelter even to ghosts. I passed through one, shaped like a question mark turned sideways. On the other side is a long hallway filled with rooms, each room a memory of a memory. There is one filled with floating teacups that spin gently without falling. Another filled with soft clouds, stacked like books, their pages fluttering when I walk past. In one room, a swing sways slowly with no wind, as if some part of me once played there without my knowing. I sit for a while in the room of clouds. They whisper softly, not in words but in rhythms, like breathing. I feel myself slowing down, thought by thought, until the only thing left is presence. Time here isn't counted. It's felt. Like how a melody exists not in its beginning or end, but in how it carries you. I wonder if this entire mirror realm is a kind of music, quiet and vast, with pauses wide enough to rest your whole being inside them. At the end of the hallway is a spiral staircase made of woven light. I place my foot on the first step, and it gives way not beneath weight, but intention. Each step is an answer to a question I didn't know I was asking. At the top is a single, round room. In its center, a mirror. But this mirror is not like the others. It does not reflect anything at all. It is filled with mist, gently swirling like breath caught in candlelight. I approach it and ask, why am I here? There is no answer, and somehow, I understand that's the answer. I reach toward the mirror, but not to pass through. This time, I simply rest my fingertips on its surface. The mist begins to shift, revealing not a scene or a life or a moment, but a feeling. Belonging. Not to a time. Not to a name. But to the simple wonder of being. Of walking among possibilities without needing to choose. Of standing in a place that does not require history to welcome you. I sit beside the mirror. The spiral room darkens slightly, not with gloom, but with gentleness. Like a curtain drawn to hush the day. I lean back against the curved wall, and feel a calm hum in my bones. The mirror glows dimly beside me, the color of memory and moonlight. No need to move now. The world around me has slowed to a quiet rhythm. My thoughts soften, my breath steadies, and the echoes of lives unlived begin to hum me a lullaby I never knew I needed. Chapter 3: The City That Waits in the Glass Mist. The path from the spiral room dissolves beneath me, not with finality, but as though it has completed its part in the story. I rise slowly, carried not by my feet, but by something softer, like memory turned into wind. The air changes. It grows cooler, thicker, but never heavy. A light mist begins to gather at my ankles, curling upward like affectionate cats brushing past. Before me, a city begins to take shape. Not in sudden clarity, but in a patient unfolding, like watching frost form over a windowpane from the outside in. Spires rise first, not sharp but rounded, as if sculpted from drifting breath. Roads unfurl like ribbons across a sleeping lake, their edges glowing with a pearly sheen. The entire city appears not built, but whispered into being. There are no doors, no windows, only archways and open spaces, where the fog moves in and out like silent tides. The buildings are made of glass, not the kind that shatters, but the kind that remembers. As I pass by, I catch glimpses in their surfaces, not of myself, but of other versions of me. Some walk alongside others, some dance alone beneath imaginary constellations, and some simply sit with a book or a dream in their lap. None of them notice me. Or perhaps, in their world, I'm just another passing reflection. The city doesn't hum. It pulses. Not sound. Not light. But presence. Every wall and pillar feels like it's breathing, and I begin to match its rhythm. The stillness is no longer still. It's full of quiet movement, of pauses rich with meaning. I step into what might be called a plaza. At its center stands a fountain, though no water falls. Instead, the basin is filled with fog, thick and luminous, like liquid starlight. It doesn't ripple. It glows in slow waves, like a sleeping thought. Beside the fountain is a bench. I sit. Across from me, a figure begins to form, not solid, not ghostly, but somewhere between. It is not me, but it could be. Its posture mirrors mine, hands resting in its lap, head tilted slightly. We say nothing, but something passes between us, an understanding. This version of me, perhaps the one who never left that childhood dream of being an artist, begins to raise a hand. As it does, swirls of light gather in the fog above the fountain. Images begin to form, a boy drawing windows on cardboard boxes, then painting whole galaxies on his bedroom ceiling. The scenes flicker like candlelight, beautiful and brief. When the vision fades, the figure lowers its hand, and the fog settles once more. No words are needed. I nod. It nods. And then it dissolves into the mist, like an answer that didn't need to be spoken aloud. I continue walking. The roads here curve gently, always inviting, never urgent. I pass beneath archways where fog falls like curtains, brushing my cheeks with softness. The deeper into the city I go, the quieter my thoughts become. Until all that remains is sensation, textures of light, emotions like scents carried on the wind. In one courtyard, I find a staircase that spirals downward, not ominous, but welcoming, like a gentle descent into a warm bath. I follow it, and it leads me into a library with no books. Only shelves filled with hourglasses. Each hourglass holds not sand, but moments. I pick one up. Inside, the memory of a single sunrise, seen from a mountaintop I never climbed. The light within it flickers like gold caught in amber. Another holds a quiet conversation on a train I never boarded. A third, a moment of stillness, sitting under a tree that never grew in my garden, watching birds I've never known. I return them carefully, feeling no loss. Only marvel. This city remembers what I do not. It holds it gently, like a friend who keeps all your half-finished thoughts safe. As I prepare to leave the library, I notice a mirror against the far wall, its surface dimmer than the others I've seen. When I approach, it doesn't show a reflection. Instead, it shows the city, but empty. No mist. No glow. Just silent glass walls and cold stone paths. I blink, and the image changes. Now, the city is filled again, but not with people. With light. Gentle, patient, endless light. I realize then, this place doesn't wait for visitors. It waits for noticing. For quiet enough hearts to see it. The mirror flickers and fades. I step back out into the city, and now it feels warmer. Not in temperature, but in tone. The mist curls around my arms like silk scarves. The light deepens into something golden, like candlelight after dusk. Somewhere ahead, I see another corridor forming, a passageway between columns that weren't there before. It leads out of the city, into a forest where the trees are made of silver glass and their leaves chime gently when they fall. I take one last look at the city. It doesn't wave goodbye. It doesn't need to. It remains, like a dream waiting just behind the veil of waking. A place that will still be here, in the glass mist, waiting, not to be found, but to be remembered. And I walk forward, slow and steady, into the next part of the mirror realm, where time and truth unfold like paper lanterns drifting on an endless wind. Chapter 4: The Room Where the Clocks Don't Tick. The trees of glass behind me glisten in silence as I enter a narrow hallway, one carved not of stone or wood, but of time itself. It is difficult to explain how I know this, but each step I take feels like slipping through the pause between seconds. Not forward. Not backward. Just between. The walls here are soft, almost pulsing, as if stitched together from the remnants of unsaid goodbyes. The light is dim and golden, like the last stretch of sunlight caught under a curtain before evening truly arrives. There is no floor, not in the usual sense. My feet land on memory instead. gentle ones. A hand resting on a shoulder. A window open just as it starts to rain. A breath drawn before speaking, never released. Ahead, a door waits. I don't remember opening it. I only realize I've passed through when I find myself standing in a round room filled with clocks. Hundreds, maybe thousands of them, each mounted on the walls in concentric circles that spiral toward a ceiling I cannot see. They come in all shapes and ages. Some are simple and small, pocket-sized with soft brass cases. Others are immense, like church bells with glass faces and long, drifting pendulums. But none of them move. Not a single tick. Not a whisper of gears. Not a breath of wind to sway their hands. They rest, utterly still, as if they've forgotten what they were built for. I take a seat on the floor, which is not cold. It feels worn in, like the floor of a room long loved but little used. As I sit, I begin to hear something else. Not sound. Not voice. Something quieter than quiet. It's the feeling of what time could be. Not the relentless march, not the forward push, but something softer. A pause that doesn't demand. A stretch of stillness where being is enough. Where the moment is whole by simply existing. I walk among the clocks. They don't react to me, yet I feel their attention, somehow. As though each one is a tiny theater, holding a frozen scene behind its unmoving face. I stop before a clock shaped like a sunflower, its petals made of stained glass. Inside, a single moment, a girl dancing alone in a room full of moonlight, laughing into the silence. Another clock shows a man sitting by a river, skipping stones without counting. His face wears no urgency. Only presence. I touch the edge of one clock, and though it makes no sound, I hear it. Not with my ears, but somewhere inside me. A memory that never belonged to me, but which now opens its arms. A morning where I woke without plans, just to watch the sky change color. Time here does not hold us. It holds space. There is a tall mirror near the center of the room. Different from the others I've seen. This one does not shimmer or ripple. It is matte, almost like brushed steel, and when I look into it, I don't see myself. I see nothing. And yet, it feels full. The voice, soft as ever, returns, not from behind me, but from within the stillness. You have reached the room where time forgets itself. Here, you may leave behind all the moments that asked you to hurry. I don't speak. I don't need to. A chair appears behind me, smooth wood, curved gently, as if it had been waiting a long time for me to finally sit. I do. The clocks around me do not chime, but I begin to hear something else. The sound of silence deepening. Like listening to snowfall on an untouched morning. Like listening to the inside of a dream. The mirror begins to glow faintly, and slowly, the outline of a door forms in its center. The voice continues, like a lullaby spoken through thought. When you are ready, the door will carry you to the hour that holds no name. but you may stay as long as you like. There is no time here. And I do stay. For a while, I watch the clocks. I imagine them ticking again, not with urgency, but gently. I imagine them holding memories too delicate for time itself. A smile passed between strangers. The hush before music begins. The hush after it ends. Then I rise. Not out of need, but of grace. I walk toward the mirror, and as I do, the clocks begin to shimmer, just slightly, as if bowing. Not to me, but to the quiet I've accepted. The mirror door opens. What lies beyond is neither bright nor dark. It is not a place, but a softness. A long sigh of the universe. I step into it, and I feel the room sigh with me. Behind me, the clocks remain still. But in my chest, something begins to tick. Not like a clock. Like a melody. A rhythm of breath, of presence, of peace. And onward, I go, into the next room of this mirror realm, where names are forgotten, but moments remain forever. Chapter 5: The window that opens only when you forget your name. The moment I pass through the mirror door, I no longer feel like someone walking forward. Instead, I feel like a ripple slowly widening across a quiet lake, no beginning, no end. Only motion that is gentle and unforced. I don't know how long I drift. The world around me is soft, made of colors that change depending on how I look at them. Hues without names. Shapes that form from thought. The air is filled with the scent of fresh rain on paper. It smells like pages just turned, and memories never written down. And then, gradually, a window appears. It floats in midair, unconnected to any wall or house. Its wooden frame is worn smooth, like it has been opened and closed for generations. Curtains of thin, pale linen drift beside it, though there's no wind. The glass itself is fogged, but from within, like something warm presses against it from the other side. A small brass plaque is mounted at the bottom of the frame. There's only one sentence on it, etched in a quiet, flowing script. This window will not open until you forget your name. I sit down on the soft ground beneath it. There's no rush. I rest my hands on my knees, breathe in slowly, and think about who I am, or rather, who I was. My name floats up, as names do. Clear and sharp at first. The name people call me, the one written on papers, spoken in greetings, whispered in dreams. But here, in this place, it begins to soften. I don't forget it the way one loses keys or misplaces a thought. I forget it the way stars fade when morning arrives. Not gone. Just no longer needed. I think of everything that came with my name, memories, decisions, expectations, habits. All the ways I've tried to define myself. And then, slowly, I let them drift. One by one. Until what's left is not a name, but a presence. A quiet knowing, I am here. The window clicks. Not loud. just enough for me to feel it through my bones. The latch gently lifts, and the window swings open. On the other side, there is sky. But not just sky, sky as a living thing. Its colors move like silk in water. There are no clouds, but swirls of silver wind that fold and unfold like breathing. Beyond the sky, strange islands float, each glowing with its own kind of music. Not sound, but pattern. A kind of glowing pulse that I can feel under my skin. I step up to the window and lean forward. The edge is not a frame but a threshold. I climb through. My feet land on air that holds me like a promise. Beneath me, a path appears, not made of stone or glass, but of forgotten dreams. It curves gently toward one of the floating islands. As I walk, I pass things that feel familiar, though I've never seen them. A tree that grows hourglasses instead of fruit. A door standing alone, opening to reveal only light. A bench carved from a single word I once whispered and forgot. Every object here carries a sense of near recognition. They feel like moments that almost happened. And then I reach the island. It is small, surrounded by a soft ring of glowing mist. In the center, a circle of tall grasses sways without wind. In the middle of the circle, a stone, perfectly smooth, with a single carved line across its surface. I kneel before it. The line glows gently, and without words, I understand. This place remembers the version of me that never needed a name. Not because I lost it, but because, here, there's no one to impress. Nothing to prove. I simply am. I lie down in the grass. It cradles me. Above, the sky swirls on. Not a destination. Just a rhythm. I close my eyes, and instead of sleep, I fall into something softer. A kind of restfulness that welcomes, not pulls. That allows, not demands. And for a while, perhaps minutes, perhaps lifetimes, I rest in the space that opened when I let go of names, of labels, of stories told too often. There is a peace here that is not quiet but whole. Eventually, the grass hums beneath me. A soft vibration, like a reminder that it's time to move forward. I rise slowly. The air feels warmer now, or maybe I've become more like it. I step back toward the path, which now curves upward, toward a rising stair made of nothing but light. At its base is another plaque, just like the one at the window. It reads, "The moment you remember only how to feel, the door will appear." And as I place my foot on the first glowing step, I feel it, deeper than thought, deeper than name. A quiet readiness. A rhythm that matches the world. A heart that no longer races, but flows. And so, I begin to climb, not to arrive anywhere, but simply to follow the softness of the path that feels like it was always waiting for me. Chapter 6: The Garden Where Shadows Bloom. The stairway of light curves upward so gently that I don't notice the ascent until I look down and see the floating islands far below, now softened into glimmers, like candlelight flickering in a breeze. The air becomes more tender the higher I go, not thinner, not colder, just quieter. As if it's listening. I climb until the stairs simply vanish beneath my feet, melting into soft ground that is neither earth nor air, but something in between. I land soundlessly in a new place, and for a moment, I see nothing. Then the garden begins to bloom. Not all at once. Slowly, like memory returning after a long forgetfulness. The world here is dusk. Not the end of day, but an eternal in-between, light and dark holding hands, sharing stories. Tall hedges rise on either side, carved into shapes I cannot name. Paths branch like thoughts that never needed conclusions. But most of all, there are the flowers. They glow with their own shadows. Each blossom is dark, not black, but full of depth, as if they carry entire nights within their petals. When I walk by, some of them gently tilt in my direction, not as though watching, but acknowledging. The air smells of warm stone and lavender rain, and beneath that, something softer. The scent of something that once mattered deeply and quietly faded. I kneel beside one of the blossoms. It is shaped like a crescent moon, folded inward, glowing from within, not with light, but with something deeper. Feeling. Presence. Echo. As I reach out, it does not retreat. My fingertips brush against its surface, and in that touch, I feel it, a moment from a life I don't remember, yet which feels mine. A small shadow holding a lantern in a room no one else enters. The comfort of being unseen and unafraid. Each flower here blooms from a shadow. Not from darkness that hurts, but from absence that healed. Regrets that gently settled. Questions that found no answers, but learned how to rest. The voice returns, not with words, but with something between breath and thought. Here grow the moments you never showed. The feelings you carried but never gave. The truths that bloomed when no one was watching. I walk deeper into the garden. The trees cast no shadows of their own, but borrow them from the past. I see them move along the hedges, shapes of myself, walking ahead, walking behind. Not haunting. Just accompanying. A bench appears beside a vine of blossoms shaped like sighs. I sit. For a while, I do nothing. And in doing nothing, everything becomes more vivid. The warmth on my hands. The hush of unseen wings. The way the shadows sway with breathless rhythm, as if dancing to music too gentle to be heard. In the center of the garden stands a tall mirror, its frame woven from branches of trees I've never touched, but whose names I somehow know. The memory tree dot. The morning vine dot. The never asked willow. The mirror does not show me dot. It shows the garden itself. But it moves in reverse. Where I just walked, the path curls backward. The flowers I knelt beside close again, folding into buds. The bench I sit on is empty. It's a garden before my presence. Then the reflection changes. Now, the garden blooms more vividly than I've seen. Shadows richer, flowers swaying slower. I am not in the image, but I am felt. Like the echo of someone who passed softly, and left the world kinder without meaning to. I touch the mirror. It warms. And in that warmth, I hear the last words of the voice, not from beyond, but from within. Even what you never became had meaning here. I stand. The path out of the garden is made of soft darkness. Not absence, but rest. I follow it slowly, each step lighter than the last. The world narrows into one point of light, a doorway, gently pulsing, the color of breath exhaled in peace. As I reach it, I turn back. The garden does not vanish. It waits. As all gardens do. And the shadows? They wave without hands. They whisper without mouths. Thank you for letting us bloom. I walk through the doorway. And what awaits beyond is not an ending, but a silence shaped perfectly for dreaming.